Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament is sponsored by Chevrolet, Burger King, and by Southwest Airlines.
Back in Kansas City, the crowd continuing to file in. Let's check out the starting lineups. First for Villanova.
Marv, this is how you pronounce my name. Ryan Archidiakono.
Ryan what?
Archidiakono.
Got that, Marv?
You know, Craig Sager is so helpful. Thanks, Ryan. Got it. All right, here's a look at Villanova. Javon Pinkston, James Bell, Muftaut Yaru up front. At the guards, Darren Hilliard and Ryan Archidiakono. How's that?
Nice.
Thank you. For North Carolina, it's Reggie Bullock, P.J. Hairston, and James Michael McAdoo on the front line. The backcourt, Dexter Strickland, and another freshman point guard, Marcus Page. The Tar Heels head coach, Hall of Famer Roy Williams in his 10th season with North Carolina. And Villanova head coach Jay Wright, who's had great success and led the Wildcats to the Final Four in 2009. The officiating crew, Pat Adams, the lead official, working with Mike Greenstein and Deron White. And the Tar Heels control 24-10 record, 12-6 in the ACC. Lost to Miami last Sunday in the conference tournament championship game. Game that saw a terrific first half. Page's pass off the mark, chased down to save by McAdoo. Shot clock is to 10. Page for three. And rebounded by James Bell.
Great defensive possession for Villanova on that first one, Marv. They're going to switch defenses a lot, try to take Carolina out of rhythm, keep them off balance. It's kind of a Rolly Massimino trademark. Jay Wright, a disciple of the great Villanova coach.
Oh. Pretty pass, Pinkston from Archidiakono. And Villanova on the board.
Now Carolina wants to up the tempo, Marva. They don't want this to be a grind. They want to get out and run, create shooting lanes, passing lanes, space the floor, and then get McAdoo kind of in some space where he can use his quickness.
Another turnover. Hill had an idea to shoot the three. Archidiakono does. And last touched by Villanova.
Here's that first bucket for Villanova. Great pass from Archidiakono, and this is where the advantage for Villanova lies, inside. We talked about Carolina going small. Well, it's worked for them offensively, but can they survive on the glass and defensively? That's what Villanova will try to exploit.
Nice move by Strickland, able to get the step, could not finish. I mentioned the crowd still filing in. This place will be packed shortly. The second game, which we will have for you here on TNT, the Jayhawks of Kansas going up against Western Kentucky, and this will be a wild Kansas crowd.
Yeah, one little pocket of light blue, Carolina blue, but a whole lot of Jayhawk blue and red already starting to fill up the seats here.
North Carolina struggled early on. They started at 0-2 in the ACC. Eventually, the move to the smaller lineup that just turned things around. They finished the season as one of the hotter teams in the nation.
But it was a move, Marv, that Roy Williams made reluctantly. I mean, he's a very traditional coach. He believes in big, strong front lines as Bullock knocks down the jumper for Carolina's first points. But Roy finally decided that this was the best way to go. His young bigs just had not developed, and the move has really paid off for his club.
Good stroke by Archidiakono, freshman out of Langhorne, Pennsylvania, just outside of Philadelphia.
And immediately a mismatch, and McAdoo's going to pick up a foul here. Archidiakono was trying to guard him on the post, and McAdoo just threw him to the floor. And Marv, this has been a problem for McAdoo. Foul trouble. Well, you see the beautiful stroke there of the freshman point guard for the Wildcats, but quick foul there on McAdoo, and that is something to keep our eye on here throughout this game.
Wildcats of Villanova 20-13 13, 10-8 in the Big East. LaRue could not get it to fall, and it's deflected out of bounds. Last touched by Villanova. In the Big East Conference Tournament, Villanova knocked out by Louisville, a 19-point loss. Villanova has lost to Columbia, lost to Seton Hall, lost to Providence twice. However, they have beaten some teams in the Big East, including Louisville, Syracuse, and Georgetown.
And all were in the top 5 in the rankings at the time of those victories. So that's really the stretch, Marv, as Hairston moves the ball out of bounds. That's the stretch that I think got Villanova into the NCAA tournament, because there were times where they were really struggling. They have a difficult time with pressure. They average 16 turnovers per game. You see there the Big East fielding 8 teams in the tournament. But this is not a great Villanova team, but a resourceful one that has taken advantage of their strengths and won enough games to find a place in the field.
Hilliard's pass deflected out of bounds. Villanova came into the season with 7 new players, including 3 freshmen, 2 transfers, losing their top 2 scorers from last season. In fact, in the preseason, the Big East coaches poll had Villanova picked to finish 12th.
But this is a program that has enjoyed great success under Jay Wright, missing the tournament last year for the first time in 8 seasons.
Diacono not able to hit, is pulled down by Pinkston. Pinkston goes up with it. Another North Carolina turnover. That's their 4th. They're off to a ragged start.
And Jay Wright yells out at Hilliard, pull it out. He wants to make this a grind, not a shootout.
Diacono not able to hit. North Carolina out of this is Bullock. Strickland. Hairston. P.J. Hairston, a week ago in that win over Florida State, suffered a cut on his left hand, needed stitches, but it has not affected him. And now a turnover committed by the Wildcats. Here is Bullock. And Bell able to get to it.
But you can see North Carolina's intent, Marv. I mean, they want to get out and run and turn this into a track meet. The faster the pace, the better off the Tar Heels will be. Villanova just wants to plod along, keep this game at an uneven pace and tempo, and take advantage inside.
Consecutive turnovers by the Wildcats. Page with the pull-up. North Carolina by 1. Marcus Page, freshman out of Marion, Iowa.
And he has made dramatic improvement as the season has gone on. Marv, of course, taking over for Kendall Marshall, who left the Tar Heels after just 1 season for the NBA.
Make it 3 straight turnovers. McAdoo able to finish.
Villanova has to take care of the ball, Marvin. They're making unforced errors. Carolina's not even putting on any kind of pressure full court. You see Jay Wright barking out signals and advice to his team, but they just have to be careful with the ball. Keep this game in the half court or they have no chance.
Bell fires for 3. And Bullock able to get to it. He has really come on in terms of his rebounding.
Now he's the reason, I think, he and Hairston, the reasons that Carolina can afford to play small. Both guys play bigger than they are. They give North Carolina rebounding and defense that a power forward might.
James Michael McAdoo averaging 14 points. That's his 2nd field goal. He has 4, and the Tar Heels have settled down after a slow start.
Well, the speed of the tempo of the game has changed and become more to their liking. And Villanova, meanwhile, just struggling to get into any kind of offensive set.
Yaru wide open. Muftau Yaru, 6'10", 255-pound senior, averaging just under 10 points per game. Bullock for 3. Excuse me, P.J. Hairston knocks down the 3.
And that's the type of range that both Hairston and Bullock have, and that's why it's so difficult to guard these guys. They extend your defense out to about 25 feet, but you got to guard the ball and penetration first.
Hairston just under 40% from 3-point range. Javon Pinkston right back for Villanova.
And Mark, to me, that's Villanova's big advantage matchup-wise in this game. Pinkston, the ability to post up as Bullock gets fouled on the jump shot. But the Wildcats need to ride Javon Pinkston inside and his post-up ability.
Foul committed by Bell. That's his first. We'll take a break.
Ernie Johnson in New York. Time for the All-State Good Hands update. Florida Gulf Coast in the tournament for the first time and matched up with Georgetown. And there's Sherwood Brown, part of an 11-2 run. Florida Gulf Coast leading by a deuce. Marvin Steve.
All right, thank you, Ernie. You look at the brackets, and earlier here in Kansas City, it was Ole Miss defeating Wisconsin 57-46. Marshall Henderson, Mr. Entertainment himself, went one for his first 13 as we see Bullock at the line for North Carolina, and then came on strong in the second half, 17 of his 19 in the second half. And then game two, LaSalle leading by as many as 19, but Kansas State came back to take the lead in the second half. And LaSalle, despite hitting only 3 field goals in that second half, 3 of 18 from the field, held on to knock off Kansas State, which sets up Ole Miss and LaSalle in one of our games on Sunday.
Yeah, so that means a 12 or a 13 is getting into the Sweet 16 regardless. That performance from LaSalle, first half was spectacular. The second half was just gritty because they were exhausted by the end of the game. They were able to pull that out. Quite a matchup, contrasting styles.
Tony Chenault has checked in for the Wildcats. And the ball knocked out of the hands of Chenault. Out of bounds. Last touch by North Carolina. Roe Williams making several moves. Desmond Hubert has come on with Bryce Johnson, J.P. Tokotone.
And he's sitting McAdoo with that one foul. He really wants to avoid McAdoo getting that second foul, but don't look for these Carolina bigs, Johnson and Hubert, to be in too long. They're going to be in for maybe a 2 or 3 minute stretch.
Fell way off. Daniel Oshefu, 6'11" freshman out of Nigeria, has also just come on for Villanova. This is Johnson. He's stripped. It's been a sloppy start. Each team with 4 turnovers. And North Carolina with a 15-8 lead. Diacono gets it to Bell on the drive. Draws the foul. Fouled in the act. He'll head to the line. But first, a timeout. We'll be back to Kansas City in a moment. Celebrate 75 years of March Madness by voting for your all-time players, teams, and moments of the NCAA tournament. You can vote now at ncaa.com/March Madness. Let's check in with Craig Sager. Craig.
Well, Villanova puts a lot of responsibility in the hands of Ryan Arcidiacono. Now, this is a true freshman who started every game despite missing his senior year of high school with back surgery. Now, Coach midseason said to give him an A for attitude. Ought to give him a C in efficiency and production. Tonight, when I talked to Coach Wright, he goes, I need an A from both. And as you can see right now on the sidelines, he's getting some major tutoring from his coach.
Well, a couple of turnovers early. Ryan averages 12 points, shoots only 35% from the field.
Yeah, and that's a result of just, you know, the being thrown into the fire in the Big East as a freshman. And as Seg said, without having played his senior year of high school, he also needs a better team around him. And he needs more scorers, guys who can take pressure off of him. But all in all, he's had a tremendous freshman season. At 32 against St. John's, hit a tying 3 at the buzzer against Syracuse to send that game to overtime. Promising young player.
Traveling violation on Strickland. And now Bullock returns.
Well, everybody returns.
Hairston is back. Page is back.
McAdoo, and there's Roy Williams using the longer timeouts of an NCAA game to give his starters an extended rest. So they may have only missed maybe 2 minutes of game action, but they probably got 5 or 6 minutes of actual rest on the bench.
Strong drive.
That drives Roy Williams crazy there. That's the small lineup where you don't have rim protection. That's where you have to rely on sharp rotations if you're Carolina.
Hairston nearly tied up. Gets it to Leslie McDonald, who just came on for the first time. McAdoo backing, fires back to McDonald, swings it. Here's Page for three. Yes. Marcus Page shoots 34% from downtown.
But the last 10 games, Marv, he shot 46. And that's about when Roy Williams decided to go small with his lineup. Coach Heffley was going to get called for the illegal screen. But this is the play before, Marv. You see Bullock slides over. In a normal Carolina season, you know, that's a big player. I see Eric Montross sitting about 4 seats down from us. I mean, that's the kind of guy Roy Williams really wants protecting the rim. But because of the circumstances with his young bigs not developing quickly enough, he's had to play this smaller lineup.
Eric, a member of national championship team. Oh, the stroke of P.J. Hairston, who, as you mentioned, has been a major reason that they have done so well when they went small with P.J. inserted into the starting lineup. Eric Montross, incidentally, doing color commentary these days, a former NBA player. Pinkston looking for position called for steps.
Well, I mentioned the turnover issues for Villanova, and that's been a problem all season long. Hairston, meanwhile, with his range. The other issue, not just the turnovers, the issue for Villanova is covering the three-point line. They have really struggled in that area this season. Their opponents are shooting 36%. Most of that due to the fact that Villanova's not real quick on the perimeter, so they give up a lot of penetration and kickouts.
Nice pass from Bullock. McAdoo with the bucket, and he was fouled.
That's a big play, Marv, because that could have been McAdoo's second foul if Villanova had been able to slide over quickly enough. I believe it's Pinkston.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's there just a little bit late. So big swing there that goes Carolina's way.
James Michael McAdoo landed on his elbow, but indicating that he is okay.
His numbers have just dramatically improved since the shift to center, and you can see why. I mean, he's not a three-point shooter, but he needs space to use that quickness. And before, when they had the big lineup, he didn't have much room in the paint to work with. Now he's all alone with all those shooters around him.
Arcidiacono just checked in, nearly stripped by McDonald and poked it away. And off the pressure defense, the ball back to North Carolina. The ball is knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Villanova.
Yeah, another turnover. They average 16, Marv, against just 12 assists. Most good teams, they average more assists than turnovers. So a -4 differential on the possession in terms of those turnovers. You see 6 already for both teams, although Carolina much more able to withstand some turnovers because they're trying to push the ball.
Carolina committed the turnovers in a hurry over the first couple of minutes. They have settled down. Hairston to the rim.
Boy, is he something. Mark, you and I did a couple of Carolina games in the tournament last year. He barely played. And obviously there were some circumstances. He was behind Harrison Barnes and John Henson, among others. But he has come so far this season with his confidence and his shooting. He's become a real force.
10-0 run by the Tar Heels. So you're not able to hit. Here comes Bullock for Hairston. No hesitation. This time he rims out.
Boy, is it tough to get to Carolina shooters in transition. You really can't because the range extends out to 25 feet, and you have to protect the basket first. So you just have to hope he misses those.
Chenault coming up short and rebounded by Hairston. McDonald, yes. McDonald from downtown. North Carolina with a 28-11 lead. 13 unanswered points. Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, Craig Sager from Kansas City. We check out the tournament summary. Atlantic 10, 6-0 to this point in the 2013 NCAA tournament. LaSalle with 2 victories for the first time since 1955. They won that first 4-game Wednesday night in Dayton against Boise State, and 3 12 seeds have advanced to the round of 32.
Yeah, the Atlantic 10 is good. I mean, people who watched the conference this year know that, but you know, they don't get the name recognition that the Big East does. But you start thinking about some of those teams. How about VCU's performance yesterday? They were fantastic. I mean, this is a big-time conference.
Tony Chenault now handling. And pass, another turnover by Villanova. McAdoo extending, was looking to go glass, but he was hit. McAdoo fouled in the act. Foul committed by Oshefu, and we will take a break.
Coverage of the NCAA men's basketball tournament is sponsored by Fiat, the UPS Store, and by Miller Lite.
Look at the Kansas City Power and Light District. Steve, that information passed on by our director, Lonnie Dell, a Kansas City resident as a youngster just a couple of years ago.
Just a few.
As we look at the Infinity Coaches Spotlight, an impressive resume for Roy Williams, Hall of Famer, gunning for his 700th victory tonight. He's won 2 national championships. He's reached 7 Final Fours, led the Tar Heels to national titles in 2005 and 2009, another Final Four in 2008.
And Marv, we should mention, on a collision course for a matchup with his former Kansas Jayhawks on Sunday, assuming Carolina continues to play like it is and assuming the Jayhawks take care of business as a 1 seed. That would be the 3rd matchup. And Roy has yet to beat his old team.
Well, Tar Heels lost in the regional final to Kansas last season, 80-67. It is now a 15-0 run by North Carolina. Jackson Simmons, who just checked in for North Carolina, called for that foul. And Javon Pinkston to the line. Be the first to know the latest news on all your teams with Bleacher Report's Team Stream app. Stay one step ahead. Check out Team Stream on your iPhone, iPad, or Android device.
And Mark, back to a possible Kansas-North Carolina matchup. I can't imagine either team is real thrilled. It seems to me Carolina was way underseeded. We saw them in Chapel Hill a couple of weeks ago, and they looked fantastic. Strickland barely getting the ball across to avoid the 10-second violation. So if you're Kansas, you really would rather not play these guys. And if you're North Carolina, boy, this is a 3. You got to come basically to the Jayhawks' backyard in a 3rd-round matchup. Doesn't seem right.
All right, here comes Page. McAdoo got the step and hits. 10 points now for James Michael McAdoo.
That's why this move, Marv, to center has been so good for him, because now he's catching and facing and using his speed and quickness. He's not really a low post player, and because of this lineup change, he really doesn't have to be.
Archie Diacono was looking to pass it out as he was pressured, and then was hit. 4th team foul on North Carolina as Page picks it up. Archie Diacono to the free throw line.
Well, Villanova was hoping, Marv, to muck this game up, to turn it into a kind of a grind fest. You know, no pace, no flow, maybe change their defenses up. get into some full court pressure, fall back into some zone. All the principles that Rolly Massimino taught Jay Wright way back when he was an assistant on Rolly's staff. But Carolina just blitzed them right from the start. And Jay hasn't been able to dictate any kind of pace or tempo because of this beginning for his team.
Light pressure shown by Villanova. And last touched by Pinkston. So North Carolina maintains possession. Tar Heels, winners of 8 of their last 10. This after getting blown out by Miami and Duke, which led to Roy Williams going to the smaller group.
And this is really one of those quote-unquote down years for Roy Williams. I mean, he doesn't have the horses that he normally does, and that's what makes this season so remarkable. Here they are, although lousy pass there from Strickland. He thinks he was fouled. But just the job that Roy has done, adapting to the talent he has and turning this team into a force. And I'm guessing somewhere Bill Self is watching this game going, man, we gotta, if we get through today, we gotta play these guys.
6 minutes to go in the first half. And a nice back-end move by Javon Pinkston.
If they can just take care of the ball and not turn it over, Villanova should have an advantage in there with Pinkston and Giroux, but that's only the second time they've been able to exploit that post.
You could see Hairston checking that he was beyond that three-point line before firing. McAdoo diving for it.
Arcidiacono a little too aggressive after he got the rebound, trying to split the defenders. Not quite enough speed to get through there, and then the foul reaching around McAdoo.
Non-shooting foul. It is team foul number 5 on Villanova. Arcidiacono digging in on Page, who gives it up to McAdoo. Bullock. Strickland. Dexter Strickland. Back from last season's torn ACL surgery. Started 19 games, then went down with a knee injury. January of last season. Giroux. It's a touch by Mufto. He started every game since his sophomore season. He goes 6'10", 250 pounds. And we've seen that the outside touch.
Yeah. Giroux has really made dramatic improvement. Was very raw when he arrived on campus as a freshman, but has become a pretty good player.
Tony Chenault is back now for the Wildcats. He'll push him, you pick him. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and TNT looking for America's next hero in an epic new competition series, The Hero, this summer on TNT. Page with the step and lost it.
Well, Villanova trying to dig in defensively. Tar Heels shooting 12 of 19, so they've had their way, including 5 3-pointers already. And Jay Wright exhorting his team, trying to get them to get some momentum here, make a few stops, hopefully get the ball inside, try to exploit this smaller Carolina team.
Chenault trap. Try to get it down low. Another Wildcat turnover. McDonald with the step, and he is fouled.
Marvin, there's been great balance for Carolina, not only this season, but in this game. You look at the numbers, McAdoo the leader, Hairston and Bullock right behind him, Page chipping in. But that's what this group has become, kind of an ensemble cast. No real superstar, but a group of players who have fit pretty well into a style that maybe Roy Williams isn't used to. You think back to Roy's days under Dean Smith. It's a program that has run basically the same stuff for 30, 40 years. And it took Roy some time to come to grips with changing the lineup and going smaller. They figured it out for sure.
What did Jay Wright tell us? In the past, they would not be properly built to go up against a North Carolina team. Now they have the big guys, and the Tar Heels have gone small.
Yeah, he said when they played him in the Final Four a few years ago, as McDonald gets called for the foul. Remember, Villanova had that small lineup, 4 guards, Reynolds, Fisher, those guys. And they had a great team, but when they played Carolina, they said Carolina was just too big. We got to start recruiting bigger players. Now all of a sudden he's playing the Tar Heels, and they're the ones who are small. He said, I can't win.
Archie Diacono, 82% free throw shooter. Villanova goes to the line frequently. They're second in the nation in free throw attempts. LIU Brooklyn is number 1.
And the problem is tonight they just haven't been able to get the ball inside to exploit that advantage. In fact, the free throw attempts are even. Both clubs having shot 8 now.
McDonald wide open. Hilliard looking for Vaughn. LaRue gets it down there. Nice move by Javon Pinkston.
When they can get it there, Pinkston is pretty tough to stop.
Off the drive by Hairston. Lost it.
Nice bounce pass there. Villanova into Pinkston, using that size, turning, and scoring over the top.
Ernie Johnson in New York. In the South region, number 2 Georgetown trails by 2 at the half to Florida Gulf Coast. And number 3 Florida is being battled by Northwestern State. That tied the game, that bucket by Jalen West, but Florida has scored the next 6 points as we go back to Marv and Steve.
All right, thank you. A look at our game summary. It has been pretty, although the Tar Heels do lead by 14 with the 5 threes. The differential at 12 for 20 on the field.
It's all about tempo. And a couple of times Villanova has tried to extend its defense and maybe make Carolina use clock, but they're just quicker at every position. And as a result, they're able to handle that pressure, throw the ball up ahead, get any shot they want. And so Villanova just hasn't been able to play their game.
Jay Hairston on the line and a 1-and-1 with 7th foul called on Villanova to put him there.
That was a scare for Hairston last week in the ACC tournament when he tore that hand and ripped some skin off at 8 stitches. You see the bandage on that left hand, but he's been able to play right through it. Had 6 threes against Miami in that ACC final.
Hairston with 10 points takes a seat as McDonald checks back in. Desmond Hubert is also back on the floor for North Carolina. Hilliard. Darren Hilliard, sophomore from Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. He has started all 34 games for the Wildcats.
Good strong move by Hilliard.
And off the trap, a tie-up. And the arrow pointing in the direction of the Wildcats of Villanova.
I think Jay Wright felt coming into this game that one of the keys was going to be putting pressure on Page and trying to turn the young freshman over a little bit, allow Villanova to get some easy baskets in transition. Page has turned it over, but Villanova hasn't been able to capitalize. Most of them have been dead ball turnovers. But Roy Williams can't be thrilled. 9 mistakes at this point with 3 minutes to go in the first half.
But you look at points off turnovers, North Carolina 16 and Villanova 5.
Yeah, totally different deal. Live ball turnover turns into a layup. Dead ball like this one, not much of an advantage.
Will not count. Offensive foul on Pinkston.
If you go small, you're not going to have shot blocking, so you better have guys who will take charges, and that's exactly what Bullock does here. He slides in, takes the contact, good position, good call from the official.
Pinkston at 6'7", 260, and Bullock 6'7", about 205. 2.5 remaining first half. McAdoo tried that backdoor pass, picked off. This game to this point, in contrast to what we saw in the earlier two here in Kansas City, it has been quite a difference.
Yeah. 20 turnovers combined. Carolina has shot the ball extremely well. There's a bucket for Villanova. That was Chenault on the nice drive, but Roy Williams is going to be upset with his team. They'll have the lead at half, but they should be ahead by more. They've got to be more careful with the ball. They're getting ready for another game if things go accordingly.
McAdoo is off. Rebounded by Pinkston. Floats one. Arcidiacono puts the move on McDonald, try to get it down low, and once again it's a turnover for Villanova. Bullock. McAdoo, medium range jumper is off, way off.
Poor decision. McAdoo had plenty of time on the shot clock, not much of an edge. And Carolina kind of playing down to the level of its competition right now.
Hilliard to the crossover, the high dribble. Oh, nicely done. 6 points for Hilliard. And Villanova with a 10-2 run.
And Hilliard has been instrumental, really using that strength to get to the basket. And Marv, I think Carolina was kind of lulled to sleep here the last few minutes. Everything was coming so easily for them. They've been extremely sloppy with their execution. Now it's a 10-point game, and Villanova extends its defense.
Daniel Oshefu is back on the floor for the Wildcats. Strickland handles up top. McDonald. McDonald with a deep three. McAdoo with the tip attempt. Half minute to go in this first half.
And after all this, if the Wildcats can get a score and a stop, just amazingly enough, it would be a single-digit game.
About a 3-second differential. Giroux. So it's 37-29 off Carolina without a field goal the last 5 minutes. North Carolina has led by as many as 19. Villanova ends on a 12-2 run. And what appeared to be a game that was going bye-bye for the Wildcat point of view. Villanova able to get back into it. Let's go to Craig.
Well, Coach, get a 20-point lead after 7 minutes, but then you go 5 minutes at the end here without scoring. What happened?
Well, they got to be a heck of a lot more aggressive than we did, and we got silly with the basketball and turned it over. They were much more aggressive defensively, and their defense got a heck of a lot stronger than their offense was.
How do you keep from turning the ball over?
Short of execution of our team, we've got to just get tougher. You can't, everybody, you know, there's a little slaps. We're slapping them, they're slapping us, but we're giving in to the physical play. And it's not dirty play. I'm not saying that at all, but we're giving in, and we can't do that. We got to change our attitude.
All right, thank you very much. Back to you, Marv.
All right, Craig. Well, that will be an entertaining halftime in the North Carolina locker room.
No doubt.
At one stretch, they had 15 unanswered points. Villanova right back in it. They're down by 8 at the half. We'll send you to AT&T at the half after a quick break. You're watching the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament is sponsored by Coca-Cola Zero, Fidelity Investments, State Farm, and by Mercedes-Benz.
Back in Kansas City, Villanova able to get back into this one after trailing 30-11 at one stretch off that 15-0 run by North Carolina. And the Wildcats come back with a 14-3 spurt to end the first half. Marv Albert along with Steve Kerr. And it appeared that North Carolina kind of lulled themselves into what took place those last few minutes of the half.
Yeah, they sort of faded, and I thought in a way Villanova's first half sort of mirrored their entire season. It was ugly. They turned it over. They couldn't guard the three-point line, and yet they kind of survived, and they did it by being tough and resilient at the end of that half. They finally got the ball inside a couple times, and they closed the half on that 8-0 run, and all of a sudden it's an 8-point game, and they've got hope.
37-29, the halftime score with the Tar Heels in front as we check out the first half stats presented by Coke Zero, and both clubs end up shooting 12 for 24, and the three-point field goals have provided the difference as far as North Carolina is concerned.
Look at the turnovers, 11 for Villanova. We kind of expected a lot from them, but for Carolina, 10. You know, in the ACC tournament last week, they played 3 full games in which they did not reach double figures in turnovers. They've been doing an excellent job taking care of the ball, but you mentioned, Marv, they just got sloppy. They thought they could just breeze through this game, and Villanova wasn't going to let them do that.
Moments ago, Craig Sager with Villanova head coach Jay Wright.
Well, Coach, after a slow start when she fell behind by 20, you turned it around. What was the defensive adjustment you made?
Started playing a little defense. I mean, we did not do a good job in our three-point shooters early and let them get hot early. And they're a great shooting team. And we turned the ball over and gave them some easy baskets. So we settled down a little bit. Now we got to make that up.
You have the edge and points to the paint, but you have yet to hit a three. Do you need to hit the long ball?
We do. Big difference. They got 5 threes. We have none. Everything else is about the same.
All right, thanks a lot. Thank you, Marv.
Jay Wright in his 12th season at Villanova, spent 7 years head coach of Hofstra and turned the program around, and he's taken Villanova to 4 Sweet 16s, 2 Elite 8s, and the Final 4 back in 2009. You can watch live games on your computer, iPhone, iPad, and select Android devices with NCAA March Madness Live. Watch now at ncaa.com/March Madness or download the app today. And the doubleheader this afternoon here in Kansas City, it was Ole Miss knocking off Wisconsin out of the Big Ten, 57-46. Marshall Henderson with a bad start, missed his first 13 shots, and then came on fire down the stretch. 17 of his 19 points coming in the second half to turn that game around. And LaSalle defeats Kansas State 63-61, despite LaSalle shooting just 3 of 18 in the second half as Kansas State made a run. So on Sunday, it'll be Ole Miss facing LaSalle in a third-round game.
And meanwhile here, Carolina needs to reestablish itself as the better team. They let Villanova back into it. I'm sure Roy Williams let his team have it. I mean, they have to be precise on offense. They're going to miss shots. Here comes the trap from Villanova. The changing defense is part of their strategy, but Carolina's going to miss shots. They play small, a lot of jump shots, but what they can't afford is to be careless with the basketball and to give up easy baskets at the other end.
North Carolina led 34-15 with 5 minutes, 10 seconds remaining on the hand. Then without a field goal after that. So Bullock now with 8 points. Tar Heels by 10. Has been off. There's the putback by Javon Kingston, who's been solid.
He's been the biggest force for Villanova. 11 points now. And he and Hilliard really led that charge at the end of the first half that got Villanova back into it.
Bullock, Hairston, and McAdoo up front. Strickland and Page at the guards. McAdoo is turned back. And the ball is last touched by McAdoo. For Villanova, it is their 33rd NCAA appearance. They made it 8 of the last 9 years. Did not make it last season, going 13-19 was their worst year since back in 92-93. 2011, they lost to George Mason in the second round. This is Hilliard. A three for Darren Hilliard.
The first free for Villanova. Marv, they're now 1 of 8. And Jay Wright told us yesterday we're going to have to make some threes. We heard him talk about it with Craig Sager. It's not a team that scores easily, so a few more of those, and that's exactly what they're looking for.
McAdoo not able to hit. Villanova now within 5. Backing in.
And all of a sudden now the tempo is in Villanova's favor. It started at the end of the half and it's carried over into this second half, but by scoring inside, knocking down a three, and all of a sudden they've got some confidence that the game has really slowed down for both teams.
There's a 3-point margin. McAdoo is fouled. He was hacked. Fouled in the act.
Here's that first three-pointer of the game for Villanova. Hilliard knocks it down. And then the physical play of Hilliard. This is really where the Wildcats need to go to work. No shot blocking, not much size and strength for Carolina. We've talked about it all game. And Pinkston has a lot of ability down on that post.
Hilliard called for the foul, his first. McAdoo only a 53% free throw shooter. It's been a 7-0 run here by Villanova. McAdoo now 2 of 4 at the line. Here's Tony Chenault, junior out of Philadelphia, checking back in. He was a starter at Wake Forest and then transferred to Villanova. How about there for his offense? Solid ball handler. And Villanova became interested in Chenault because they were not sure about the status of Arcidiacono, who, as Craig mentioned earlier, set out his senior year in high school after undergoing back surgery. 2.5 minutes gone by in the second half. Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, and Craig Sager from Kansas City. How about Georgetown trailing by 15 with about 9 minutes left.
Marquette barely surviving yesterday, so not a great start to this NCAA tournament for the Big East.
Bad pass on the inbound. So North Carolina shooting so well in the earlier portion of the first half. They went through that 5-minute stretch without a field goal and have not been able to pick it up.
Kind of a strange shot from Strickland, too, who's not really much of a shooter and normally a really good decision maker. He's got to move that ball on and force Villanova to guard.
Pinkston off the crossover. Back tap. And chased down by Pinkston. Good play by Bell. Hilliard gets the screen from Pinkston. And a foul call. I don't know if that was a shot or a pass, but Giroux came up with it. And he was fouled.
And the rebounding totals are starting to indicate that size advantage inside and the strength edge. Villanova has 20 boards now for Villanova to just 12 for the Tar Heels.
Foul committed by Page. Mufta Giroux, 78% free throw shooter. If you get coverage of the Division I women's basketball tournament at ncaa.com/women's Final Four. Giroux, who grew up in the Republic of Benin in West Africa. And Steve, like yourself, he speaks 5 languages, English, French, plus 3 African dialects.
Marv, you know, I actually watched him practice. We're going to see a block there on Pinkston. I watched him practice 4 years ago when he was a freshman, and he was so raw. He really didn't understand anything about the game. His footwork was bad. He couldn't shoot the ball. And it's remarkable to see the work that he's put in and how much it's paid off, because we've seen him knock down jump shots. He's involved in dribble handoffs and some sophisticated offense. He's turned himself into a really nice player.
That foul was number 3 called on Pinkston, so Daniel Oshefu is back replacing Pinkston. The Tar Heel lead is down to 2, and obviously miscommunication as Page tried to get it down low. Bullock telling him, hey, you got to take that shot.
Yeah, and Roy Williams, too, saying, let that thing fly, because he tried to hit McAdoo on the roll. McAdoo was going in for the offensive rebound. Even if you shoot and miss, if you're Page, McAdoo's going to get that offensive board.
It is a 2-point game. Nice fade. And Bell has tied it. They've come from 20 down.
This is just shocking, or just the way this game has turned and the confidence now that Villanova has.
Page was blocked, and he'll shoot 2. Roy Williams about to send out a new unit. He has 5 guys at the scorer's table, tied at 40.
Ernie Johnson in New York right now on TBS. Florida Gulf Coast trying to pull a stunner in their first ever trip to the tournament. Watch Brett Comer going left hand off glass, 14-point lead, 7.5 or so to play. Let's go back to Marvin Steve.
All right, Ernie. As we take a look at the number 15 seeds who have been able to upset the number 2 seeds in the NCAA tournament since 1985. We did that Norfolk State Missouri game last season. Same day Lehigh knocked off Duke. The one that intrigues me is 1993.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, Santa Clara led by, well, not actually led by Steve Nash. He was a freshman, defeating the Wildcats.
Yeah,
of Arizona.
Yeah, that was a tough day for us. That was 5 years removed, Marv, but that one hurt. Damon Stoudemire was on that team. That was a great club. Nash, as I remember, it made about 6 or 7 free throws in the final minute to seal it.
How about Roy Williams benching all 5 starters? He is sent on Desmond Hubert, Bryce Johnson, J.P. Tokoto, Luke Davis. Page now is being replaced by Davis.
This is what Roy does, Marv. He's done it over the years. When he gets really angry, he just says, fine, you guys are all going to the bench. He's going to buy a couple of minutes here. Kind of a Popovich type move if you're an NBA fan. Just get the message across and try to get his team playing hard. Jolt them.
Luke Davis playing only his 19th game of the season. He has seen spot duty. 6-foot sophomore. He's now playing the point. And the ball back to Villanova on the turnover.
And I think, Marv, when you talk about going small, we saw it with LaSalle earlier. We see it with Carolina, with this team. It's great in spurts. You can be explosive offensively, but you lose the integrity of your rebounding and your defense oftentimes. And that's what's happened today for Carolina. And they're going to have to find some grit and some toughness in the last 15 minutes of this game just to be able to move on.
Boy, Pinkston has checked back in despite the 3 personal fouls. And Hilliard with the bucket to tie the game. And now the starters will make a return for the Tar Heels. 5 guys over the scorer's table, which you rarely see at this point of the game. Here's Johnson coming up short.
You rarely see this at this point of a season, Marv, but I respect Roy Williams for this decision. He had to do something to jolt these players. You see Roy on the sidelines exhorting his players, trying to get them to make a stop here.
Pinkston with the cross-court pass. Hilliard for 3. Rebounded by Pinkston. Spins his way and scores to give Villanova a 44-42 lead. First lead for the Wildcats since the early minutes when it was 4-3. Oh, nice pass. Backdoor pass. Bryce Johnson able to stuff. And the game is tied at 44. 6 minutes gone by in the second half. And here is Kansas head coach Bill Self getting off the bus, leading his Jayhawks, who will meet Western Kentucky in game 2 here tonight. Look at our game summary, all tied at 44. Wildcats shooting 50% from the field. Tar Heels down to 47. Villanova just 1 of 10 from 3-point range. And the turnovers now even, but Villanova came back from a 20-point deficit. Took the lead briefly, had a 2-point lead. And now Roy Williams, after benching his starters, brings the guys back.
And meanwhile, Villanova has finally started taking care of the basketball. You saw the numbers, just 12 turnovers. They had 11 at the half, so 1 mistake in 6 minutes here. Game much more to Jay Wright's liking.
Diacono now at the 2 guard with Chenault playing the point. Checking the clock. And a foul. Nice pass to set it up.
Pretty good possession, Marv. It didn't look like they were really doing much, but Villanova would love to use clock on every possession and ultimately get the ball to Pinkston down on the block, because he's gone to work down there today and he can draw fouls and get to the line.
Foul on Strickland, second team foul called on North Carolina. Well, from executive producer Donnie Wahlberg, real cops, real crimes, real drama. Boston's finest. New Wednesday at 9/8 Central. Right here on TNT.
Well, if you think about Carolina's season, we've talked so much about the surge of late, but they've had some stinkers. I mean, that last home game against Duke, they were out of that game immediately. They lost to Miami by 26, at Indiana by 24. So this is not unusual for them to go through some lulls.
Charging foul, so Villanova gets it back. Strickland picks up his second.
That's a tough call, but it's a call that generally goes to the defense at the collegiate level. Players are able to kind of slide over, even after that offensive player has taken off. You're kind of allowed to slide underneath the guy, and you see the turnover there for the Tar Heels.
1-point game. Bell, played by Bullock, and now picked up by McAdoo. Good pressure, and as a result, it'll be North Carolina ball.
That's how they got the lead in the first place early in the game, Marv. They really attacked Villanova's ball handlers. They forced turnovers, and they were able to control the entire tempo. But when was the last time we saw anybody get out in transition?
This is Page off the screen. Rebounded by Giroux.
Now they're just uncomfortable. Carolina, no rhythm, no flow to their game. Even when they get an open look, it just doesn't feel right.
Pressure continues. Pinkston. Shot clock down to 5. Diacono. And he's called for the offensive foul.
Back-to-back turnovers now for Villanova. Carolina trying to pick up its defense. But Jay Wright has this game right where he wants it, and it's just shocking, Marv. I mean, this is the same game we were watching first 10 minutes when it looked like Carolina was going to win by 20. But we talked about it. It's all about pace and disrupting the flow for Villanova, and they've been able to do that here the last 20 minutes.
Over on TBS, Florida Gulf Coast with a 14-point lead on Georgetown with 4 minutes to play. Bullock with the 3. 11 points for Reggie Bullock, and North Carolina takes a 2-point lead. 12 minutes, 6 seconds to go. Second half. The difference here in the second half in the rebounding department. Villanova with 10 boards, North Carolina just 1.
24-13 overall for the Wildcats. But North Carolina finally gets an open look from three that they knocked down. Bullock, and a breakdown from the Wildcat defense. That's why Jay Wright called that timeout. That was a pretty easy rotation that was missed.
Kingston. And the foul is called. It is on Yeru of Villanova. And that leads to another timeout. North Carolina up by 2. North Carolina clinging to a 2-point lead after leading by as many as 20 points. And a look at Joe and Patty Archidiacono, the parents of Ryan. In fact, the dad, one of 10 relatives in the family that has played college athletics. Joe played for the Villanova football team from 1976 through 1980. Playing offensive tackle for the Wildcats, team captain along with NFL Hall of Famer. How did he know he was on camera? Wait a second.
This is not Kiss Cam.
Wait a second.
We're just talking about your college football days.
That completely threw me off here. McAdoo with the basket, and a foul is called. As I was saying, Joe, a teammate of a fellow by the name of Howie Long at Villanova in his senior year. And Joe Archidiacono was named first team All ECAC back in 1980.
More of our feed is on the scoreboard up above. And so Joe was thinking this was, you know, the timeout kiss cam, and he wanted to put on a show for everybody.
Here's Hairston for 3. That previous field goal by McAdoo waved off. He was fouled before the shot. A 50-45 lead for North Carolina. ECAC, incidentally, the Eastern College Athletic Conference, or as you would refer to it, an ECAC.
Yeah, it just kind of rolls off.
I know you like to shortcut things. Kingston. Oh! Yeru on the recovery, and a foul against North Carolina.
But Hairston is able to free himself up here, just like Bullock a moment ago, to knock down a 3. Now, this is Carolina's game. We know that. But the game really is a result of tempo. Freeing those guys up is a result of pushing the ball ahead. And this game has come to a screeching halt exactly by design for Villanova. And a lot of that, Marv, is just the offensive boards. Yeru with another one now goes to the line, and not only can you get 2 free throws, but you can set up your defense and continue this snail's pace.
This is Tony Chenault checking back in. Yeru, good free throw shoot at 78%. That foul was called on Hairston. Muftal Yeru, one of 13 children, which is the reason that he wears number 13. It's 1 of 2. North Carolina up by 4. Looking to advance to the 3rd round, and they'll face the winner between Kansas and Western Kentucky as McAdoo again is stopped. North Carolina goes to the trap on Kingston. Strong drive by Chenault, but he's turned back, and the ball deflected out of bounds. Last touch by the Tar Heels.
You can see Villanova, just every player putting his head down, going right to the rim, fully aware that there's no resistance in the paint from the Tar Heels.
Kingston had the wide open shot, then looked to get him closer, and Yeru banks it home.
And Roy Williams does not have a lot of options, Marv. His young big men who are on the bench right now just not ready for this type of game, so they're going to have to survive going small.
Bullock for 3. And it is swept. Hilliard. Yeru. And back comes Page from Bullock.
Good transition defense from Villanova, getting back and matching up, but there's the foul on Yeru. McAdoo finding a lane to the basket.
Second called on Yeru.
Well, it looks like Jackson Simmons is going to check in here in a moment. Simmons, a walk-on, an energy guy for Roy Williams, has played periodically for the Tar Heels, but has given them some good minutes in some key games. And he's going to be called upon here to battle Yeru under the boards for some rebounds.
Making his first appearance of the night. He goes 6'7". He's a sophomore. Comes on with Leslie McDonald. Over on TBS, Georgetown is down by 9 with 1 minute and 48 remaining.
And remember, Florida Gulf Coast beat Miami early in the season. So this is a team that has some talent, clearly. But that's still a 2-15 upset. That would be just the 7th all time in this tournament.
Hilliard working off the pick. Bell. Kingston backing. And the foul is called as Simmons try to keep him away. North Carolina with their 15th foul.
Yeah, 15 foul, and Simmons, that's going to be the matchup now with Yeru going to the bench. Simmons has been on Pinkston, although now looks like Carolina is zoning out up on the out of bounds underneath.
And he lost the handle. 5-second violation being called.
Jay Wright thinks it's a technical. He thought Page got his hand on it. And the officials are going to step in. I thought he just dropped the ball. Let's take a look here at Hilliard inbounding the ball. He loses it there. Yeah, he just drops it. That's a good call by the officials. It's either just a violation or a 5-second call. Either way, it doesn't matter.
Try to fake to his left, went right, and it fell out of his hands. On the turnover, the ball back to the Tar Heels. Coming up on 9 minutes remaining. Second half, North Carolina has a 4-point lead. McAdoo is stopped. McAdoo on the follow. 15 points for James Michael McAdoo.
Yeru got the first shot, but McAdoo with the quickness and the speed to recover on that offensive putback.
Hilliard gets it down low. Yeru from Hilliard.
Just too easy. They can get anything they want in the paint. The question is, can Villanova execute well enough to get the ball down onto the block?
Yeru goes 6'10", 255. Page pops it into the corner. McDonald is off. 4-point game at one stretch. North Carolina led by as many as 20. They had that 15-0 run. Villanova with a strong finish to the first half. 14-3 spurt and a reach-in fouls. McAdoo trying to slap it away. Bullock and Strickland getting set to check back in. The foul is on McAdoo. We'll be right back. Back in Kansas City, Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, Craig Sager, a 54-50 lead for North Carolina, the winner to advance to the third round on Sunday. And they'll face the winner between Kansas and Western Kentucky. That game is coming up next here on TNT. Kansas, the top seed in the South region.
McAdoo goes to the bench. Simmons stays, so I think Roy Williams trying to buy a couple more minutes of rest for McAdoo. Question I have, Marv, is will Roy Williams put some zone in right now? They're getting killed against this man-to-man. He doesn't like to play a lot of zone, but that might be one way to negate the ball going inside so easily.
Chenault at the point, handing to Hilliard. Hilliard for three. Kept alive by Bell. Chenault checking with Jay Wright over at the bench. And Chenault was hit by McDonald of North Carolina.
And Bullock is in the fight of his life against Giroux down on the block. The matchup's so difficult for Carolina since Villanova kind of gained control of this tempo. Bullock trying to fight the bigger man, and Chenault will have a 1-on-1 here.
Both teams in the 1-on-1. Chenault struggles at the line 63%, 26 out of 41. Simmons with the rebound. Dexter Strickland. PJ Hairston backs it up. McDonald gets the rebound. Space for McDonald. Simmons. They swing it around again. Quick shot by Bullock. Simmons missed the follow.
Well, you can't leave Bullock in the corner. You've got to stay on the corner shooters. That's too easy of a shot. Villanova very fortunate that Bullock didn't knock that down.
And an offensive foul is called.
You got Giroux, Marv, on the post-up. He had the smaller man on him. But watch right here. Hairston doing a great job fronting, and Giroux, good call by the official, just tries to throw him out of the way. And Carolina survives another possession down there.
Foul number 3 committed by Giroux. 6.5 to go. Second half. Tar Heels by 4. McAdoo is back on the floor. This is Hairston for 3.
Beautifully done, Marv. The execution was there that time. Good flow to the offense, and they got the ball to the right guy.
16 points, 4 of 7 from beyond the 3-point line for Hairston. Hilliard sweeping in. Beautifully done.
Corey Williams wanted to travel. Everybody in the Carolina section signaling travel, but no call. Nice move. He got away with it.
15 points for Darren Hilliard. Once again, an open shot. This time it's Bullock.
And a good play from Simmons, who was getting trapped in the corner. All he had to do was get the ball out, and Carolina was going to find a shooter, but it was a tough pass. Simmons made it, and it led to that 3.
Arcidiacono not able to hit. But it's Giroux on the follow. No hesitation again by Hairston. So the Tar Heels catching fire. A combination of P.J. Hairston and Reggie Bullock. Bullock now with 14. Hairston with 19.
There's that pass from Simmons to Strickland, swings it on to Bullock. The game finally opening up a little bit for the Tar Heels.
You can follow tournament scores and news live on the CBS Sports app. Get it free by texting SCORE to 42777 or by visiting cbssports.com/mobile from your phone or tablet. Steve, over the last minute, North Carolina 3 of 3 from downtown. Hairston, Bullock, and then Hairston again.
10 for 20 from the three-point line overall for Carolina. 1 for 13 from Villanova. That's the difference in the game.
Five minutes remaining. Hilliard picked up his dribble. Here's Pinkston. Strong move by Pinkston going right at Simmons.
And there's the advantage for Villanova once again, just getting to the paint and to the basket with ease. If I'm Villanova, I'm not even guarding Simmons. I'm basically playing a five-man zone and let Simmons go wherever he wants. And you've got to stay home with shooters.
Page backed it up, got it to Bullock. McAdoo with space. Yes. James Michael McAdoo started strong, then had some difficulties at the offensive end. A couple of shots blocked, and he has come on here in the second half.
But the execution from Carolina is there again. Their cuts are harder, their screens are better, and finally they're getting some open looks in their half-court offense.
Pinkston backing his way on McAdoo, has to give it up. Arcidiacono. Well, got the pop.
Good patience on that pump fake, freeing himself up.
It's only a second field goal, 2 of 8 from the floor. 65-59, North Carolina, with 3.5 remaining. Well, Georgetown has been knocked off by Florida Gulf Coastal as Page is able to drill it. So a number 15 does it again to a number 2 seed.
Maybe not as shocking as the previous 6, given what Florida Gulf Coast has done this season earlier.
On the back tap, it was kept in by Arcidiacono, and he was tripped up. Yes, Roy Williams not pleased about that foul.
It's been that kind of a night,
Whoa.
Roy.
Ernie Johnson in New York. Well, it's happened for the 3rd time in the last 2 tournaments and the 7th time in tournament history. A number 15 has beaten a number 2, and tonight it's Florida Gulf Coast in their first appearance in the tournament, knocking out Georgetown. Back to Kansas City. Marv, Steve, and Craig.
All right, Ernie, we update the list. Florida Gulf Coast is added. Last year, as we talked about earlier, Norfolk State did it to Missouri, Lehigh over Duke. Florida Gulf Coast won their conference very early, back on March the 9th. The Atlantic Sun Conference, they were the first team to get into the tournament.
Meanwhile, the Big East struggles continues. Just 2-4, and one of those wins by Marquette was kind of a miracle. They had to score a couple buckets in the last few seconds to win that one. And they're looking at 2-5 unless Villanova can make a comeback here.
The personal rooting section for Ryan Arcidiacono. Tom Patty and his dad Joe on hand as he knocks down the free throws. 6-point lead, and off the turnover, an opportunity here for Bell for 3. A 2-point game with just under 3 to go. I'll make it a 3-point game. There's a 2-point shot. After they're not able to handle the pass, good play by Arcidiacono on the save.
And the Villanova pressure has bothered Carolina. All of a sudden, they really hadn't had much trouble with it. But Villanova changing its defense, extending to full court, and caught the Tar Heels off guard.
On several occasions where it appeared Villanova was out of it, they have come roaring back. Foul is called on North Carolina, with Pinkston grabbing that ball, and he took a shot.
This is what you love about Arcidiacono, just the ability to make a play, be tough, be resilient, diving out of bounds here, throwing the ball back in for the save. 2 consecutive turnovers that he had a hand in.
Foul by Hairston, putting Pinkston at the line. He's 2 of 4 at the free throw strike, 71% for the season, 1-1. That was the 9th team foul on North Carolina, so the next would be the double bonus.
Yeah, and if Pinkston hadn't gotten that offensive rebound, Yeru would have. I mean, they were basically fighting over the ball amongst 4 Tar Heels, so the dominance on the glass for the Wildcats continues. 1-point lead for North Carolina. Here's the trap.
7-0 run by Villanova. Can Simmons get it across? He does. Page open. Yes.
Well, that's what you give up if you're Villanova. You extend the pressure, but if you don't force the turnover, you're vulnerable on the backside. Page with a huge shot.
Kingston gives it back. Beautiful pass. Giroux plays it in.
Great pass from Arcidiacono.
Page struggles to get it to that midcourt line, and he was fouled.
Here's that jumper from Page. Looked like Villanova was going to force another turnover, but they just got free and got the ball to Page at the other end. I mean, this has just been the entire second half, just pounding Tar Heels in the paint.
Foul committed by Bell.
Well, 38-16 now in terms of points in the paint for Villanova. It's just inside versus outside. Carolina with 11 threes compared to just 3 for the Wildcats.
Page an 84% free throw shooter, able to connect on both. Minute and a half remaining. Arcidiacono not able to hit. The save by Giroux, and it's last touch by North Carolina. He was able to hang it off Simmons.
This was really close. Looked to me like it was off Pinkston. But again, no replay rule at the collegiate level on out-of-bounds calls.
Hilliard will throw it in, being played by Simmons. Pinkston. Arcidiacono. Hilliard. Guarded by Bullock.
Good defense from Carolina, but can they get a rebound on this possession? That's the big question.
Arcidiacono off the spin, trying to bank it. Ball's loose on the floor. McAdoo diving forward. And we call timeout.
Well, looks like the ball's just being awarded to Carolina on the out-of-bounds play. The scramble, Arcidiacono again on the floor. Tough to tell there.
And Arcidiacono cut on that play, diving for the loose balls. It was very difficult to tell who deflected it out of bounds.
But the referees did signal that it was Carolina ball.
A minute remaining. North Carolina with a 4-point lead on Villanova. Wildcats continue to come back. Here's that scramble a moment ago as McAdoo landed on Arcidiacono, which led to the blood and the timeout.
He's a football player, Marvin, high school. He loves to get in the middle of the scrum. There's his dad. We talked about him, a football player at Villanova years ago. Mom and dad showing concern. Problem now is you may not be able to get him back into the game. Only a minute to go. See how quickly the trainer can fix him up.
And it will be North Carolina ball. You see Villanova putting the pressure on. And now to Page, it's stolen. Pinkston not able to score on the drive, and then it's deflected out of bounds.
Boy, Pinkston had a point-blank shot after the steal, but somehow it just trickled out.
And a foul was called on Chenault.
There's the steal. Pinkston just goes right through McAdoo, and then there's the push. North Carolina just very fortunate here.
And they're in the double bonus, so 2 shots for Hairston. We continue to work on Ryan Arcidiacono. Hairston 2 of 2 at the line. 76% free throw shooter.
2 timeouts left for each team. And if Jay Wright wants to, he could call a timeout if Archie Diacono isn't ready to go. And he looks down, he's still not ready. Jake sort of waves him off, but maybe he uses a timeout here. Let's see what he does.
5-point lead for Carolina. 50 seconds to play, second half. Hilliard trying to go all the way. Looked like he was uncertain. This is Hairston on the drive. He's hacked. He scores, and the foul. He kept going despite the shot that he took.
How strong was this move? Hairston, the opening, and unbelievably gets the shot to go despite the contact from Bell. And you see the emotion and reaction. That is a strong finish.
Big game for Hairston. He has 22 points, and now looks like Ryan Arcidiacono is going to, yeah, here he is checking back in. With the bandage over the left eye. Hairston seeking a 3-point play. Down to 40 seconds remaining. Hilliard for 3. What a game for Darren Hilliard. Now 18 points. Averages 11 for the season. 5-point North Carolina lead.
Well, Villanova is going to fight till the end, and Darren Hilliard has had a terrific game today. Watch this long 3 over the top of McAdoo. Just 4 for 18 for Villanova overall from the 3-point line. Hilliard's got 2 of them. Now remember, Marv, Carolina has had trouble inbounding the ball against this pressure. So let's see if they're able to get a clean pass in, and then Villanova will foul right away.
Foul is on Hilliard without any time running off the clock.
That part's good, the clock part. The bad part, if you're Villanova, Reggie Bullock will go to the line. He's a 76% foul shooter. And I've always wondered about that rule, Marv. I mean, if that's the case, why not just grab Simmons? You know, grab somebody who's not used to shooting free throws.
Yeah, Simmons to the line only 10 times this season.
There's the foul. We'll see the hold here. Good call from the officials, but hey, if you're only going to get penalized 2 free throws, which you're going to end up doing anyway if you don't make the steal, why not go after somebody else?
Saved by Pinkston. Coming up on a half-minute remaining. Here's Bell, tough angle 3. And the rebound is handled by Simmons. Look out. The ball back to Villanova.
Oh. Bullock, all he has to do is hang on to the ball.
And this is turnover number 17 committed by North Carolina. Hilliard will throw it in. 22 seconds to play. Arcidiacono, he fires for 3. Oh. And Page gets it down to Simmons. Just look to kill the clock. Simmons is fouled by Giroux. As I mentioned, Simmons to the line only 10 times. He's hit 8 of 10. 6'7" sophomore out of Webster, North Carolina, has gotten the playing time here tonight, particularly in the second half.
Yeah, and he's done a good job. Roy Williams put him in to try to battle on the boards, but it's just been a strange performance by North Carolina all night. Even this finish, you know, Page, there's no reason for Page to get the ball out of his hands and throw it up to Simmons. There's no reason for Bullock to fire it up to Hairston. You got to finish the game strongly here. Accept the foul, go to the line, knock down a pair.
So Pinkston sits down with 20 points, 8 rebounds. Simmons missing on both but is able to get to the rebound, which will send him back to the line with 8 seconds to go.
And for once, Villanova can't get a rebound when they needed it most. They've dominated the glass the entire game, but that long rebound, they just couldn't secure.
Two more shots for Jackson Simmons. North Carolina, and this is not Jackson Simmons' fault because he rarely, as you mentioned, goes to the line, but they shoot as a team only 67% from the foul line.
That's why if you're Page, and he's a freshman, so he'll understand this after this game. If you're Page and you have the ball in the backcourt, you don't throw it ahead to Simmons. You just keep it. You're 83% if you're Page.
Now Dexter Strickland returns for Jackson Simmons, who did his job.
That's all he needed, really, was just one. Now it's a 3-possession game. But boy, Williams, I'm sure he's going to have a long talk with his team tomorrow at practice.
Now, he cannot be happy with what took place here tonight, as North Carolina will advance to go up against the winner between Kansas and Western Kentucky. That game coming up in about a half hour. And for Roy Williams, it is career win number 700. As North Carolina goes to 25-10, they move on to round 3. It's their 11th straight opening round victory in the NCAA tournament. Villanova 20-14 concluding their season. The second straight opening round loss in the NCAA tournament. They lost to George Mason 2 years ago in the round of 64. As the Tar Heels win it 78-71 in a bizarre game. They had that 15-0 run to take the big lead, led by as many as 20. Villanova came back strong late in the first half. They finished up 32-10, took a 2-point lead, but North Carolina came right back, led by Hairston with 23, including 5 threes, McAdoo 17, and Bullock at 15 points. So the final again, North Carolina 78, Villanova 71. Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, Craig Sager saying so long for now from Kansas City. Tournament games continue live now on CBS, TBS, and TNT. And number 1 seed Kansas facing Western Kentucky coming up in about 30 minutes. Quick break coming up. We'll send you to our NCAA studio.